I will start from this video, impossible is nothing, and then later I can show the person. No. It's a sign. Yeah. Okay, this is the film about the project Impossible is Nothing, and then how I start. 2014, I start with my friend Elias to think about what to do with this throne. It's throne from the king Béhanzin, who is the last king in Abomey. So, for me, I like when you try to change the history of something. When you say, okay, now I want to use this chair like art piece, so you have to write the history about it. It's not like, okay, you just take the chair and then you say, this is art piece, and then start to, so you have to think about the history, and then you have to think about what are you going to do with this history, and also how this history of this chair is very important for you. I'm a painter. I paint because I start with painting, and then but also I make installation. But from my painting, I try to, it's moved, but I don't know how to stop it. From my painting, you can see, I paint with a lot layer. You can see layer by layer. So from my painting in 2015, when I was in a RHYTH Academy, I started to think about how to give the scientific aspect of my work. Of course, I was interested for archaeology. And then this throne was in Benin. I didn't know what to do with it. So when I was in a RHYTH Academy, I said, okay, now I'm interested for archaeology. And then in Benin, we don't have good historian like the young historian like me who can write like international. So I say, okay, now I'm going to ask Benin University to collaborate with archaeology department. And I get contact with one friend who is teacher in the university to give workshops to the school. But I'm not archaeologist to give workshop to them. So for me, is to learn something from them. So I get contact with them, and then I did the copy of this throne, 2015. In December 2015, I put the throne in the ground. I borrowed the throne. Where in Benin, in Allada. Allada, who is very important place in Benin history. So I put this throne there because it's also to ask people to think about this place. Because when we want to build like a road, or when we want to build house in Benin, we don't think about archaeology. We just build house. We just do what we want. And then Allada is like amazing place. You know, you can find a lot thing like pottery, pipe, and ceramic. And if I go to the farm with my grandfather, it's what we find on the street. So I have also my studio close to the palace, and then when I want to build the studio, I find some pottery like a bottle. You can from here you can like this bottle. I find this bottle 2013 when I built my studio in Allada. So I keep it, and I start to think about what to do. So when I want to put the throne in the ground, I put with many things like pottery, like this. The other thing I found like 3 years or 4 years ago. But to put the throne, I took like 1 meter by 90 centimeters to put the throne and then bury it. So when we want to make this excavation with a student, we take 2 meters by 2 meters, so we have more space to make this excavation. And then we start to work. But for them, they didn't know what is really in this ground, because I didn't talk to them is the throne. But we start to work, and 3 days, after 3 day work, we find this throne. But they was like, okay, why can you do that? Do you know it's the king chair, and it's belonged to the king Béhanzin, and now the real throne is in Paris, and then you don't have to do that. But I said, no, I'm artist. We are not here to do archaeology. We are here to do contemporary artists. You can see, I talked to you when we start, I put something in the ground, so you have to. So they are all like, okay, no, it's fake archaeology. But I talked to them, yes, it's fake archaeology. But I play with that. I want from you write something about your history. I want you rewrite the history who was already gone. So it's why you are here. So it's why I try to work together with you. So they say, no, we can't do that. We are scientific, because, you know, you make fake archaeology. But I say, okay. So it was very good workshop, and then they start to talk between them. So, and then 2 days later, the department called me and say, oh, Thierry, you know, it's not what you talk to, you know, to the department. But I say, no, I'm not going to do archaeology. I'm not going to work for the university. I work for myself, and then I just need help from them. And then they don't want to let me travel with the throne. So I have to travel, and then they say, no, you have to, what we say, you have to come, you have to talk, and you have to make engagement to, you know, to prove you don't going to use this throne like real throne. So I say, okay, yes, I will make this engagement, but it will be part of my work. And then I use this. So I make this engagement for them, you know, just to prove okay, I'm not going to use this throne, blah, blah, blah. But for me, all these performance don't make sense because I didn't, you know, I didn't, what we say, I didn't try for that. You know, I didn't think, okay, when I will start to work with them, later they will find something, you know, to stop my project. And I talked to the director of the archaeology department, but it was really, you know, it was really like I did something bad. It's like you play with the science and you play with the department, and I will go to the police and blah, 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 blah. And then I took everything to Rice Academy. And they say I'm not allowed to exhibit this work. So the Rice Academy have to write to this department because before the student give me, you know, the rapport they write. So I say, okay. And then when I was Rice Academy, the administration write to the university, but they didn't give answer. It's like they really want to stop this project. So I decided to show the work like that. And yeah, I don't know. So for me, it's really important to show the land because we are also like this soil. We are like dogs. I don't know if it's not, my English is not really okay, but we are, yeah. So just to show this land, something I took from Allada and then to link to here, and to show also how we can easily travel with things. Like when I was in the airport with this drone, the police asked me, where do you find this thing? Do you know you are not allowed to travel with object like that? But I talked to them, no, it's my sculpture, I'm artist, and then I'm in a Rice Academy, and I have to show my, you know, my work there in November, and then they say, okay, but you can't do that. But I say, yeah, of course, you know, it's my work. So I talked a bit with them, and somebody was there to say, okay, you can let him. And then I put the throne in the scan, and then it was there. So they let me travel with it. And later, it was like, you know, I feel like I did something very bad because everybody was you know, thinking, maybe it is something in the, you know, in the wood. I travel with it, but the police come back again to say, okay, can you show me what kind of art you make? So I say, yeah, I can. So I up my computer and then I show them everything like so. I say, okay, and then they let me, yeah, and then they let me travel. This project is not, when I start, is not to know. I didn't think about the restitution topic we have today. It was like for me, okay, you have something very strong like king chair, but I work a lot with chair, with my installation and with my painting. You can see the drawing of chair, and so because it's for me the place we have. If you didn't invite me, I will not be here. If you didn't give chair for all people, they will not see it. It's the place we have in our society. It's also how you can be in interaction of people. If you don't give your comfort zone, if you don't say, okay, come in my comfort zone, you can't, other people cannot be. it's also how we play with our own history. It's for me to recreate the new history for artifacts, a sculpture from Benin who are like in other museum, or we are not allowed to see it. So I exhibit this work. No, I don't have a picture. So I exhibit this work like that. It was, but in Berlin Biennale it was different. So you can see, like this, we find the object like in, maybe this is 20 centimeter. So you find the objects in 20 centimeter. So I make this bus like 20 centimeter, and then I put everything we find in top of the walls. So this is like 90. Yes. So like this, I put like that. So from here to here is like 90 centimeter. So in 90 centimeter, we find this object. So I put in top of this. And then you can see each bucket represents the deep. So how deep, I'll find the object, how you can find here. But in Berlin Biennale, I changed the way to show this object. So I show it from the ceiling. So you can see from the, yes, like that, you can see this object. And then I decide we use plastic bag for, to make this work. So I decide to use fabric like that to print the title on this plastic, just to show the people the difference we have in Benin about plastic pollution. And it's also to let people know we don't fabricate plastic in Benin, but we have so many plastic like in the river, in the, yeah. So it's also the way to show. And then in the room you can look the throne from the small window. It was for me to show how we look, how we can see our culture, because you have something like historian, you can write about it, but you have to travel from Benin to Paris before to see the real object. So it's for me how we look from a small window, our culture to, yeah, so outside. So I'm happy now we can what we say, we can talk about restitution, we can talk about the object in Benin, in museum, and yeah, it's a big topic now. People want, like French country want to send, the throne or artifacts and things back to Benin. But it's also problematic because, like, this throne is not in museum in France now because they already sell it by Sotheby's. But how can we talk about all these things, because they say we are not allowed to give. 10 years ago they said no, we are not allowed to give back because it's about the law, but this was sold by Sotheby's. So it has a lot of contradiction in what they say. So I was thinking, okay, if you say you want to give things back, but now the thing who is now in private collection, what are you going to do with it? So the political people always play with this history, and it's also how we are when you find you have a place to take, you have to fight for it. When you think, okay, I want to be there, you have to work for it. This throne, for example, it was shown in Benin 2016 by one Benin businessman, and then he was not politician guy, but they just show they work like important, you know, throne for Benin. So 2016, she showed the throne 2006 in Benin. 2016, he wanted to become president, and then he talked to the Benin population. If I'm president, I will buy this throne and show again in Benin. So I say, oh, what he talk about? The throne, the copy of his throne is already in the ground in Allada. So nobody know what happened, and he was not president, and then yeah, it was many. But later we find out he already buy the throne for 2004. So it's also really, you know. So I don't know what the politician people want from us. So it's yeah. And then I play a lot with this, how we deal with things, how do you want to write your own history? How do you want have interaction with people, with what they they do with your city, what they do with your own money, or what they do with your idea you put on. So I think if you have questions, we can.
First, say thank you.
Yeah.